Hey, Anthony. Today, we're going to talk about the Swiss bank world. There's been a lot of changes in the Swiss bank world due to all the new reporting requirements.
Yeah, I would say it seems like everything's been turned upside down from where it was just maybe even 6, 7 years ago. And unfortunately, I mean, people have panicked. Bankers, customers, everyone has panicked. And one of the big trends, one of the big growth industries going on in Switzerland right now is safety deposit boxes. Whereas rooms used to have one or two cabinets of safety deposit boxes, now there's stacks and stacks of them, lines to get in. And we have a pretty good idea where that's coming from. U.S. persons who were forced to close out their account, converted their account into cash. Mm-hmm. Now the cash is sitting in a safety deposit box, and that is what they don't know what else to do.
Right. What we want to talk about is some ideas we have on how this is affecting Swiss bankers and how to make their lives easier and more prosperous. The first thing we'll talk about is some of the Swiss bank account holder myths.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the people with these accounts are tagged as criminals.
Right. Well, the bankers are tagged as criminals. Mm-hmm. And the people who have the bank accounts are tagged as criminals. And from our experience of dealing, with hundreds and thousands of people in Switzerland or in Europe, around the world, really, there are very few people who actually had a pure criminal motive in opening up a Swiss bank account or a bank account around the world and not reporting it to the U.S. They might have known some worldwide income was taxable, but they didn't think they had the type of thing that was taxable, and they certainly didn't know about the FBAR requirements. Mm-hmm. And one of the huge things is that in Europe there are a tremendous amount of dual U.S. French citizens, Swiss citizens, German citizens, and they open bank accounts in Switzerland because they have family there, they have affairs there, their business is still in Europe. Mm-hmm. So they have completely legitimate reasons for opening it. But they're all lumped together as some hardcore criminal that's using the Swiss banking system for nefarious purposes, which is just simply not that. It does happen, but it's not the majority of cases at all.
No, it's funny that having money suddenly became a crime. Now, the second thing is they've sort of been told BS by tax professionals. Right. Maybe not some untruths.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. There is a lot of nonsense given by U.S. tax professionals, and I've seen some of the letters that some of the Swiss banks came out. They said, "Okay, look, we need to close your account. Contact a U.S. tax professional about this." Mm-hmm. Well, they contact kind of any U.S. tax professional about it. Someone will contact big law firms saying, "Okay, these guys should know what they're talking about." Right. And the advice, well, I think I could give a story that we had a client who contacted, he had a Swiss bank account, high balance about 20 million, ended up, it was high, went down to 7 million. And he realized oh my God, I can't believe I've been in non-compliance this whole time. He talked to a big law firm in Washington, D.C., and they told him, okay, yeah, we can help you out, but it's going to cost you $1 million to hire us, and you're not going to end up with any money left over.
Wow.
And luckily, his son continued to do some research, found us, mm-hmm. and we were able to get them out the door. We got it down to $400,000. And our fee was less than half of what it took to get there.
Wow!
So that was really, a lot of fun to do. It's really a lot of fun to do cases like that when people think the end of the world is coming, and we could really say, well, you know what? If we just fight back a little bit, if we actually act like attorneys,
yes,
and take a stand that is opposing the IRS, but we have our facts, and we're willing to risk a little bit, you really can be rewarded. And I think what I notice is a trend. A lot of, somebody goes into tax law because they don't really want to be a lawyer. They want the prestige and the pay of a lawyer, but they really just want to take the IRS's position, sugarcoat it to the client, and now the client just is going to pay, and they don't have to stick their neck out. But a lot of things we're doing, we are sticking our neck out. We are risking our things, but these are so important because people's fortunes that their families have worked so hard for, that they've worked so hard for. And, a lot of, where a lot of Swiss banks come from, a lot of funds come from Holocaust survivors. Mm-hmm. They got the money there. So that's something that I think is really important to fight for. It's like, no, you don't get the IRS. You don't get this money because someone forgot to file a form.
Right.
You don't get all this. That's not fair.
It's like they forgot that they're supposed to be advocates for their clients. They're more focused on themselves.
Right. Unfortunately, that's what we see. There's a few other there's another. The good news is we're not alone. Mm-hmm. There's other really good sharp guys I've talked to, and I know we kind of know who is who are aggressive and who are really passionate about getting results for their clients.
Yes, and one thing we've seen is sometimes they'll use fear tactics with their clients because it's easier to scare someone into making a decision than trying to fight.
And and this client that I talked to is basically that's what they did. Well, if you don't do this, you're going to go to jail. If you don't give up all your money, you're going to go into jail. A lot of people just can't tolerate that. That doesn't make them do the thing. They just sort of go into paralysis. And I'll tell you what, what these client would have done. They would have cashed all their stuff in Switzerland, and it would be in a safety deposit box right now. Mm-hmm. We're able to get them through. Right now, their money's earning money, and they have access to it around the world. They're clean. And
the next point I think that leads nicely into is that these clients, they want to keep their money in Europe. They don't want to take their money and run.
Right. Yeah. They're not looking to, as soon as they can get the money back into the U.S. system. Mm-hmm. They actually, because the underlying assumption is that they were doing criminal tax evasion. That assumption is incorrect. They have real reasons for wanting that money in Europe. That is, they want it, for business in Europe or around the world. Mm-hmm. Swiss, it's a lot easier to wire money from Switzerland than a lot of other places. And also they have, rental real estate, rental properties. They have a whole life in Europe that they go to in the summer. They go to for part of the year. They have a whole life there. And they need to have it there. Mm-hmm. They need to have the accounts there, and they're just sort of frustrated, or they think they can't. And it seems, this is really what's happened. It seems like it's a crime to have cash, and it's a crime to have money, and it's a crime to have an offshore account. None of those are actual crimes. They're treated like it. The issue is you have to just make sure you're doing your compliance work hard, which is admittedly difficult, but that's what firms like ours exist for.
Exactly. And last but not least, we've talked about the risk of continually having this flow of people coming in and out of those safety deposit boxes.
Yeah. Swiss bankers have really taken it all over the place. They're called criminals as criminal conspirators. Then they're called snitches because now they're handing over the information to the IRS. The thing is you don't understand the position that they were in. They really didn't have a choice. No. If you do not do this, you're out. You have no clients. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're out, and they'll get it anyway. So if you comply, and by the way, the Swiss banks, the ones in the program, they've paid fines. And they might not really have done anything, mm-hmm. or maybe it was one person who did something. So everyone has to pay for it, and everyone gets the black eye for what maybe a few did. And this is sort of what I think about as the risk. So here it is. You have lines of people waiting to get into safety deposit box in every bank in Canton. And there is you can kind of tell. I always think I think you could tell people's nationalities from pretty far away. An American stands out. A German stands out. Some of France sticks out. You could tell where they're from. An American really sticks out. And there they are, all Americans waiting in line to get your safety deposit box. Now, could you imagine in 3 years, 4 years, someone from the Swiss, somebody from Department of Justice squeezes the Swiss bank, hey, we want to go talk to people. Hey, who are the people you saw waiting in line for the safety deposit box? Mm-hmm. And you're going to be in the same position where, oh man, I don't want to say. But they're saying, well, if you don't, we're going to get you on a criminal conspiracy that isn't really there. But it doesn't matter. When you're charged, things feel different. So the fact is you're really probably going to give up those names of like, well, I saw him here. He was there all the time. He was there all the time. This is his address locally if you want to find him, I guess. Mm-hmm.
And it's currently not part of FATCA reporting, but who knows? They can tomorrow
it's not
change
at all.
The law.
Right. Well, it's not part of FATCA at all. But if they believe it's part of conspiracy to commit tax evasion, then it doesn't matter. You don't even need FATCA. Now you can just come in and crack everything open. So I think this is what I see for Swiss bankers. you have to understand you got to not have so much cash in your safety deposit box. I think there's a risk for you. There's a risk for your clients. Also, what's really there is a missed opportunity, because the cost to come clean with the IRS probably isn't as high as your clients have been told or you have been told. They could probably do something to come clean that leaves them, okay, they're 100% fine. They have no issues at all. They can now put their money back into your bank. You could be managing and investing, making actual money off of them then, instead of your 5 Swiss francs a month or whatever you're doing for your rental.
Right.
So that's really the opportunity here. This is the time. There's still a really good window, and I think it's just the myths of how much that everybody has to pay a 27.5% penalty, a 50% penalty. Not true at all. Not true at all. We have a whole inventory of people we have helped out that have paid far, far less. So that is really what there's a huge opportunity here. It's sort of a bad situation now, but it can all be made a lot better if people just knew how things really could work, as opposed to that superficial dicta they've been told.
Exactly. So there's still an opportunity to take those liabilities and turn them into assets.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks for watching. IRS Medic, the law offices of Parent LLP, real tax attorneys for tough tax problems.